You're so
What do you
happy.
want to know?
Yeah, are you going to moderate?
I'll be an impromptu moderator.
All right.
So
Dude.
this is my first time, so
Be
be nice. So
Kidding, it's just my past.
That was out loud.
Coming back to haunt me.
so at the end of the table we have Gregg Berger.
At the end.
Anchoring before a ride.
Next to him we have Maurice LaMarche.
Move.
Rob Paulsen.
Thank you.
Jennifer Hale. And Candi Milo.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, so do you guys know who these voice actors who they play? I do.
Who are you people?
We are your worst nightmare.
So Maurice LaMarche and Rob
Robert
Paulsen play
Redford.
Pinky in the Brain.
That's right. We are Pinky and the Brain.
Yes. You have to guess who is who. I blew it.
Gregg Berger, you play Porky Pig, right?
I didn't play Porky Pig, that was Bob Bergen. I can give you a quick around the horn. I was Agent K in animated Men in Black, Shoot 'em Jays, a cerebral fecaloid, their brains are in their bottoms, you know where to aim. I bark and slip Bodie the dog in all animated episodes of Garfield. In the new show, I also play Squeak, who's a mouse trying to get out of the optical house, but Garfield wants him to stay right where he is. And working down from my almost falsetto to my basso profundo, I played corn-fed in the show Duckman, that I steam up the skinny cow and clean up after the duck. And I'll back off the mic, but
Me Grimlock, me Dinobot leader. Slag and sludge do what Grimlock say.
Generation 1 Transformers. I'll pass it off. There's up.
So Jennifer Hale has played.
I've done one or two things that
Aren't you Porky Pig?
Yeah, no, but I aspire to be. Let's see. Well, something it's called mine. I know Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty for Disney. Bastille Sean, Knights of the Old Republic, Bastila. Commander Shepard from Mass Effect. Thank you. Those of you who are smart, play Commander Shepard with the other gear up here, not the other gear. Golly, what else am I here for today? Naomi Hunter from Metal Gear Solid. Jean Grey, Wolverine and the X-Men. Carol Danvers in the upcoming Avengers. Brutal Legend Ophelia. What else have we got going on right now? Yeah. Ayla Sakura and Senator Chuchi from Star Wars Clone Wars. And there's something else I'm here for today, but I can't remember what it is. One of you will.
Ivy from Constantine, right? Yes. When we all had wastes. That's it.
Candi Milo has played Dexter from Dexter's Laboratory.
Yes, Dee Dee, get up in the laboratory. I just pretty much play whatever they don't. I just do the rest, but yes, thank you. I do mostly very strange and very disturbed little boys. I play Cheese on Foster's Home. Yeah, I like chocolate milk. Yeah, I like potatoes. Yeah, I pudding. Yeah, hi, lady. What
We
else?
affectionately like to think of Candy as our Jeffrey Dahmer.
A fan sent me this shirt because I told them that my mother, when I told her that I was on Dexter, she said, you know, I turned on that show on HBO about the murderer Dexter, and I couldn't find any voiceover. I don't know what you're doing on that show. And I was like, no, Mom, it's animated. She said, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm so glad. And I thought, oh, right. So I had said that on a blog, and a fan sent me this shirt, which is Dexter, Dexter, for my poor confused mother. And just so you know, there are 5 of us, and I'm the calm one. So my mom was like, just everybody stop moving. Everybody stop moving. So I play a lot of Saturday morning cartoon characters. I do Maya from Maya and Miguel. I'm the flea on Mucha Lucha. Jacobo on Disney's Replacements. If it's Tuesday, it must be Chalk Zone, a bunch of stuff for Nickelodeon. I like to say that I'm on the second revolution of the studios. So I kind of burn out, or they just won't have me back. And so now I'm kind of back at Nickelodeon. I'm on a couple of things with Robbie. Do you guys watch Fanboy? Anybody watch Fanboy? Great, it's going to be a big show, I can tell. It's a good thing that I'm secure. And anybody, Rob, who is so brilliant, knows Carl from Jimmy Neutron. He likes to sing. Carl will do a song for us later today.
I will. There's a lady who sure. Oh, wait, it gets better. And as we run down the road.
So we're doing this new show called Planet Sheen, which is a spin-off. Yes, they gave Jeff Garcia his own show.
Yeah.
We're going to bring him to the next con just to piss you off. So and that's what we do. And Maurice does tons more, and everybody does tons more. So we're good.
So yeah, I mean, do you guys just want to? What's best for y'all? Since it really is a very nice little intimate group, do you want to just ask?
I say we all go for coffee.
I understand that's a convention.
It's a specialty coffee convention.
Yeah, like this crowd needs coffee.
And I'm sorry, you usurp your position. What do you?
No, I'm sorry. I can't do anything.
Can't you see the names overwhelmed?
So how do you guys know each other? Like, do you guys have you guys worked on?
We all met as children and decided to get into show business all at
It's hard to believe, but we all took the same bus to elementary school, started kidding around, and this is what it led to.
Actually, we all met each other because Maurice is the only one that had clean urine, and we all had to go to our respective, parole officers, and we all met at, buying
once. I was
clean
asking
food.
for the water. All of your water.
No, the truth is, honestly, we've all had the good fortune of working with each other for many, many years, and honestly, I say this a lot, but the truth is that you will probably find, by and large, with most voice actors, that not only are these people just supremely talented, but there's very little pretense. And a lot of us have done on-camera stuff too. And one of the lovely things about voice actors is you get to know these people through all the years. I've known Maurice, 20 years, and some folks we've known 15, 10, 20, 25 years. And you honestly get a chance to work with people whom you would choose to be your friends. And that is not bullshit. It's absolutely the truth, and they're the most lovely, talented, wonderful people. And so we've all just gotten to meet each other throughout the years, and some of us are represented by the same agents. And
it's a small world. There's
Yeah.
not a lot of us. We're dying.
Hey,
I'll start singing that song.
I'll add on to that. It's first of all, yeah, a lot of us are in the on-camera community as well, and sometimes in the on-camera community you can have a career, maybe keep a career because you have a specific or interesting look. All of us have sort of thumbprint voices, no two are the same, and we see each other in waiting rooms, and it really comes down to whatever's the proper application for whatever's being done that day. It's not that anyone is wrong, it's that someone is more right for whatever a specific project is asking for. I've had a lot of people at my table talking about, I do this, and I have this, and I want this, and there's always room for one more, but the one more has got to bring something new and fresh to the party that's not already at the party. We cover a pretty big waterfront, but that doesn't mean that we didn't get off the bus at some point and have to announce ourselves. That part never changes. As far as our respect for each other, it's not construction. We're not carrying jackhammers and doing physical exhaustive labor, but it turns out that there are hours and hours and hours where other things are going on technically, and we basically have time to just kick it around, and none of us want to grow up, so most of it is, when we're lucky enough to have a gig, is we're getting paid to play, so it tends to attract people who are playful by nature.
We're lazy.
And lazy. Anyway, so the love part is easy, and the respect part is demanded.
well said.
Yes.
I always say it's Kiwis and Tangelos. You're either in the mood for it or you're not. But they're both good.
I remember Jennifer, she was much younger. And then when somebody said Ivy,
I was 7.
it was pretty damn close. She was very young. And you hear the timbre, the sound of her voice, which is this very delicious grown-up woman. And I just remember staring at her because it was so disconcerting. She was this young, fresh, kind of hyper girl with this very rich, deep, sexy voice that could turn it out, and her acting. And when you said Ivy, I remember, I don't know, was that Deke?
It's Carmen, yeah, it was Deke.
Deke, and Carmen Sandiego. And I remember going in and I was auditioning for some little thing, and I was in there with Cree Summer, who's another little
whole different sound.
Yeah, a whole different sound, a whole other genius. But I do remember that was the first time that I had ever heard Jennifer's voice, and I thought, I've just never seen anybody look one way and sound completely a different way. That should give you all hope, because it doesn't matter what you look
Right.
like, obviously, you know?
Yeah, when I was like 12, I could order anything for me and my friends over the phone.
So I know we have one question. Are there any other questions right now?
Where's the first one?
Okay, so the first one is, yeah.
Getting that first part, doing voiceover work, how difficult is that? It seems like after you get one of them, like you guys, as you say, you stand around with something, somebody that sounds like a monkey that's really pissed off and coffee turning, you're suddenly doing 5 different voices, you know?
I find that everybody's got their own story of how they got that
started.
first job. I mean, my first job had several years of experience behind it that nobody knew about or took seriously, because I lived in a smaller market, and sort of San Diego's a smaller market than LA. And I got a lot of experience in that market and did a lot of time in that market before I came to LA. And when I came to LA, nobody takes your other work seriously. So if you show up and you know what you're doing and you have experience, you have the chance to hit. Because you only get one shot to walk in that door the first time. But that was my first time story. Everybody here, I'm sure, has a different first time story. You know?
I was with Maurice. I've known Maurice since 1985, 86. We were at the same agency for years, and I was singing and doing stand-up at a wake. I know, right? Those are one of those only Candi Milo stories.
Stand-up at a wake?
Had a stand-up at a wake for an agent at William Morris who died. And
Hey, you're killing me.
I know, right? Don't move, I'm not done. Don't move. And this was his celebration, and it was ridiculous. And his celebration, and our agents, Nina and her assistant Charles, were in the audience, and they came up to me, tears in their eyes, and I'm thinking I am one hot singer. So they come up to me, and they're handing me their cards, and I'm like, oh my God, William Morris, I'm gonna get a record deal, and they're like, do you have a voice? And I was like, yes, thank you for cartoons. And I thought, oh my God. And I ripped up the card. I ripped it up, and I thought, you need to go to Hale. I am not doing this. And I was listed, because those were the days before Scary People. And so I was listed in the phone book, and she called me the next day, and I went in and I booked my first job with Maurice and Rob for Tiny Toon Adventures.
Oh my God,
that was it. That was my first audition.
Was it really?
First audition,
Wow.
first job, and I walked in, and everybody was really loud.
Okay.
Yes.
It's overwhelming.
It's so overwhelming,
Everyone's
especially
so
for a girl.
funny and so loud.
And they're doing all their voices, and I thought I could never do that. And so that was my story.
I could do 3 voices when I started.
Yeah.
Me younger, and a valley girl. That was it.
And I would love to hear these guys' stories, though.
I had a little different route. I'm the oldest one up here. Many of you don't know this, but I, in fact, was the entertainment at the Last Supper. But in those days, you may recall, if you IMDb me, at the bottom of my list, you'll see me as Shecky of Arimathea. Hey, these 12 Jews come in to dinner. No,
By the way, if you look Rob Paulsen up on the IMDb, your computer may not be able to scroll down to the bottom of his list. He's got, I think, the second longest listing on the entire Internet Movie Database.
well, thank God it's the second longest
your
something.
computer may start smoking as it scrolls.
God bless you. Thank you. No, like most of us, I came out here when I was much younger, and my background is music. I've been a singer longer than anything, and I was in a bunch of rock and roll bands back in Michigan and back in Detroit, and had a stage background. And then when I came to Los Angeles, I was doing primarily on-camera stuff, lots of commercials, lots of episodic television, really horrible films. One in which I played a person named Larry Falkwell in a show called Stewardess School, in which I was a flight attendant about whom there was absolutely no confusion with respect to his sexual orientation. But my first cartoon job was actually on G.I. Joe, and that was in 1983, I think. Yeah.
Before Turtles?
Before Turtles, yeah. Ninja Turtles was the first big thing I did. That was in like 87, 88, I think. But the first show I did was G.I. Joe. And interestingly, I played a somebody brought the toy this weekend. It was a character called Snow Job, who... I'm just saying. Snow Job, who was a winter army guy, a guy who was on, a ski patrol kind of guy. But it was so disconcerting, and even then I thought, well, this is kind of silly. This guy Snow Job was covered from, head to foot with a white parka, white pants. His rifle is white, his carbine, and he's got white everything because, of course, he's in the snow. But he's got a beard like Billy Connolly. It's like. So all the Russian guys got to do is Mr. Snow Job, shoot for his face. But yeah, that was the first cartoon I did, and then fortunately it's gone on to a couple of other things, and then what would you got to say? Go ahead.
That was fascinating.
Thank
That's
you,
all I
my
want to
friend.
say.
Thank you.
So Momo.
I've had two firsts, actually. I got a first in Canada, and then left Canada and had to start all over again.
Really?
The first thing I did.
By the way, if I may say, there's only one person less famous than Maurice LaMarche, who comes from Timmins, Ontario.
That's true.
That's Shania Twain.
Yeah, Shania Twain. I come from Timmins, Ontario, has produced Shania Twain and the guy who plays the brain. It says it right there. As you go in, as you pull into Timmins. But the part about the brain is written in crayon. That's all I have.
It could be Shania Brain.
No, I did a cartoon called Easter Fever with Garrett Morris and Catherine O'Hara. I did all the people on the day is much like this. I played a character named Steve Martin, a wild and crazy horse, and Don Rattles, a rattlesnake with the voice of Don Rickles. And then I left Canada, came here, and I didn't get another voiceover job, and I guess I consider this my official start until 1985. And again, same story. I was doing stand-up comedy at the Comedy Store.
And brilliantly.
Oh, you're very kind and lying. It was mildly amusing at best. By the way, I know what I said about you and your IMDb listing totally is a compliment. This man has worked, folks. I mean, the list of credits is unbelievable. It's got nothing to do with age. It's, 70 months older than mine.
I'm coming, Jesus.
The same agents that took Candi hostage did so with me as well. And it took me about a year of knocking around the business, auditioning. I mean, if anybody in the room is thinking of a career in voiceover, do not get discouraged. From your first audition to your first job may be a while. So you may have to, continue waiting tables or selling toner and office supplies on the phone or whatever it may be, stand-up comedy. And then I scored with Inspector Gadget. I was the voice of the chief on the second season, and I thought,
I score with Inspector
Gadget. I thought this is the coolest job in the world because it really it was comprised of listening to, reading 2 pages of script, sitting next to Frank Welker, and learning from Frank Welker, who taught me how to move a script completely silently, as well as all kinds of things about creating characters.
No one ever tells anyone until they're in the session.
Exactly.
When you must slap them and go, please don't do that.
You're rustling the papers, big movie star. You know how to not rustle papers, Brad Pitt? Right.
Yeah.
Outcast.
Yeah, Outcast.
Outcast.
And he walks in, and I walked up to him, like, let me show you how to use the paper.
Right.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you have to stop, and you can't get a good 5-page run going. So I did that, and the coolest thing about it was we'd do 2 pages, 3 pages of dialogue. We'd stop, and as soon as we stopped, Don Adams would start regaling us with stories of the making of Get Smart. And it would be like 10, 15-minute long stories, and then, the director didn't have the stones to interrupt Don Adams, TV legend. So everything that's on the special features of the Get Smart DVD box set, every story on there that Don Adams tells, I've already heard intimately, just the three of us sitting there with him smoking a cigarette going, I'll never forget the time that Rickles and I were chained to a wall for an episode of Get Smart.
How cool is that?
And they left us there. And I thought to myself, this is the greatest job in show business. And they mail a check 2 weeks later for reading aloud, the only skill I had in public school. And getting to hear a TV legend tell you a great backstage story. It was phenomenal. So that was my introduction to the business. Mr. Berger, time to play Porky Pig.
That's right, exactly. When I was Bob Berger in the previous, I'll give you a choice of two. One was my first which was led to a commercial and led to a puppet show series, or my Quantum Leap first, which is the better of the two stories.
I vote for Quantum Leap.
I'm gonna opt for Quantum Leap, and if there's time later, I'll tell you the first. But I was doing a play that was originally done in New York. Tommy Toon directed it, called Cloud 9. It came to Los Angeles, and I was cast in it. In a last minute, I ended up as the understudy, and went on one night in the West Coast production, and Gordon Hunt, who was not only the head of Hanna-Barbera in those days, not the head of Hanna-Barbera, but the primary voice casting person and voice directing person for Hanna-Barbera in those days, happened to be in the audience that night. He came back and asked the stage manager, Kevin Barr, to come and get me. He knew I had gone on as the understudy. I came out, I knew who he was, and he said, if you're as versatile as what I just saw on stage tonight, we should know about you for animation. And I thought, this is the opportunity people talk about, and it's happening right now. And I thought, all of this went through my head. If I say thank you, this is all going to go away before he gets to the car and goes to dessert. So I said, you know what? You've had my demo for about 6 months now. If you can move it from the bottom of the pile to the top of the pile and give it a listen, yes, I want to be working where you're working. I want to be doing shows for you. I want this more than I can tell you. And I thought he'd be insulted or he'd laugh. He laughed hard. He had me in the middle of the next week. He introduced me with a, do you believe the nerve of this guy? By the way, I'll put this right out front. I can be polite to a fault. I can polite myself right out of a situation, but I didn't that day. I didn't mistake it for anything other than what it was. He said, can you believe the nerve of this guy? And then he said, but he's the new kid. Please make him feel welcome. He's killer, and you're all going to be seeing more of him. This was for a new episode of, the Jetsons came and went, and then they did some episodes of the new Jetsons. He seated me next to Mel Blanc, and I swear, if I had died that moment, it would have been, my life makes sense, everything's fulfilled. I teach now, and I love teaching, but the lesson of what happened to me that night is that I'm optimistic enough to believe that opportunities make themselves available, hopefully to everyone. But if you mistake them for just another moment, then that's what they become. Every day of the rest of my life changed because I did the inconvenient thing in that instant, and it changed my life. See, it's way better than the other story.
No kidding. Really, what a great story.
So I know our next question came from over here. What was your question?
Actually, a huge fan of Critic. I know Maurice was on it.
Hey! Thank you.
And I love your Australian, I forget.
Jeremy Hawk.
Jeremy Hawk. But I know, did you do the Orson Welles?
Yeah,
The fish sticks?
yes, the
Peas in July.
rosebud frozen peas, full of natural goodness and green penis. Wait, that's terrible. I'm leaving. Just a handful for the road. They're even better frozen. Yes, that was me.
You?
Out of all the voices that you guys have done, is there anyone that really stood out to you guys?
You're asking us each individually?
Yes, all of you guys.
Maurice did one once that I thought just sucked out loud. And,
It was was Orson Welles on The Critic, Rosebud Frozen Peas. I've never used that voice again, or maybe once.
I don't know, do you want to just start at the
Good.
end?
Yeah, go
Hey,
ahead.
as long as Rob is talking about other people's voices, I think that's an interesting way to go and a lot less self-serving. For me, myself, whatever I'm doing at the moment, I'm going to do the most with it that I am capable of doing. But as far as a voice that stood out to me, I had the great good fortune of being the animated voice of Odie since Odie's had an animated voice. When Lorenzo Music was the voice of Garfield, and again, this comes up in teaching. Everybody says, people tell me if I don't have 42 voices, I shouldn't even try. Well, you only need one, but if you only have one, if you're a one-trick pony, it better be a really good trick. Lorenzo had this wonderful ability to make whatever was given to him on paper real, but it all came through one voice. But it never didn't ring true, it never didn't make you smile or laugh, and so even if they gave him some ridiculous premise, he would make it his own and filter it through that. So you need one voice, but it better be a friggin' good voice.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Tom Sharp is the same way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Bodette.
Tom Bodette.
Go ahead, Maurice, what is
Go,
your
Mama,
favorite
what's your
voice?
My favorite voice of yours?
No, yours.
Yeah, it's of yours.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, I don't want to Orson Welles us to death here, but Brain was, stood out for me. And not just because, it's not because it's an Orson Welles impression, because as a character, Brain was the most interesting character for me to play, because in spite of the fact that he's a 2-inch tall, genetically altered lab mouse with an extremely pronounced forehead and a very bad attitude. He's also all of us in the sense, he's an everyman in the sense that we've all got a dream. I mean, his was taking over the world, whatever it is for each of us. And no matter what happened to him and Pinky in a given episode, at the end, the very key life lesson there was he didn't give up. He said, "Come, Pinky, we are going back to the lab to plan for tomorrow night."
Why, Brain? What are we going to do tomorrow night?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world. And that's an analogy for each and every one of us. Whatever it is you want, don't let it get you down when something, trips you up on the path. Just dust yourself off and head back to the lab to plan for tomorrow night. I hope there's nobody in here planning to take over the world, but yeah, exactly.
But in a good way.
Yeah, exactly. So that for me, he was the most interesting character of all, because there were layers to him. He started out as just a villainous character, an ineffectual villainous character, but as the show went on, we built a lot of love into that relationship, and he truly cares about Pinky, and I don't know, I loved playing him for that reason. It was a real relationship show, so that's it, that's for me.
Yeah, and I have to, I guess, concur that Pinky probably was, my favorite too. I mean, I enjoyed doing Yakko on Animaniacs, and I've been very fortunate to have worked on a lot of really fun stuff with a lot of really, really gifted people. But the relationship between Pinky and the Brain was really beautifully cultivated, and the show progressed, and the same thing. Pinky loved Brain and was, loyal to a fault. And still, when I watch the Christmas,
it brings a little tear to your eye.
I watch the Pinky and the Brain Christmas show, and it makes me freaking cry. I mean, he writes a little note. "Dear Santa, I'm so sorry to bother you, but would you, if you got in that great big bag of yours, the world." And then he gives the Brain a keychain with a globe on it, and the Brain just gets all teary-eyed.
I'm crying.
But so yeah, the Pinky is a very special character to me for many, many reasons, and not the least of which is
because he won an Emmy for it.
Well, thank you. Here you go. Right on cue. But also, it really does. Life imitates art. I mean, I love Maurice and the ability to sort of bring this really deep friendship, especially now that he's waxed his back. He's so much used to work at the Relax Your Back store.
You know that no one can wax their own back. You helped.
I did. No, but honestly, they
Still very sensitive back there.
That's right. But the yeah. So Pinky, for many reasons, it was great professionally and all that. But it really did. We were able to bring a lot of our mutual love and respect for each other into the characters, and I think it
character has
showed.
such wonderful vulnerability too, and resilience. He's just a great character.
Thank you.
You can't not love Pinky from Pinky and the Brain, and he makes, and in that way he makes the Brain acceptable, because if Pinky loves Brain, well then maybe it's okay for you two too. Thank God, because just on his own, if it was just the Brain, you'd go, okay, I'm tired of the fucking Orson Welles impression.
But you know what else is, because all of us are big, we all grew up and we all quote Python stuff to each other because we're such geeks, Eric Idle played Pinky's mother and father.
Saw him last night. He was 7 boxes away from me in the Hollywood Bowl.
How about that?
Yeah, it was wild.
And that's just so cool. We got to have all these wonderful celebrities. Roddy McDowell played Snowball. An evil gerbil.
Yeah.
And I got to sit next to Roddy McDowell.
I got to sit next to Ernest Borgnine.
And
he played my
father.
father.
Price came in to do the pose the Raven for Tiny Tim.
That's right.
He came in with the oxygen.
Oxygen, because he was very old. Yeah.
Right, and he came and he did the Raven, and he did that Once Upon a Midnight
Dreary.
Once Upon a Midnight Dreary.
My little character would scream out, "Nevermore!
Yeah.
Nevermore!"
Yeah, I remember.
He was so frail.
Those are, well,
Wild.
it's like Maurice was saying about Don Adams. We get all these. We're going off the path about the question, but so yeah, Pinky. But the but yeah, these opportunities, to get to work with these iconic folks. Like Roddy McDowell was such a thrill, and then I remember Olivia Hussey came in, who was the definitive Juliet for me.
Yeah. She still looked like Juliet.
Her face, she was probably 50 at the time.
Yeah.
And her skin looked like alabaster.
Yeah.
And she sat next to me, and I just said, I have to tell you, Ms. Hussey, that you are, I had the biggest crush on you in Romeo and Juliet, which was the one directed by Franco Zeffirelli, and stunningly beautiful. If you've not seen it, it's really gorgeous. Yeah. And she, of course, was, oh, really, how lovely, that's so nice. And how many times has some idiot said that to her? Today, exactly. So anyway, I ramble on, but your turn.
Oh, and I just have to say, I know it's a terrible thing to digress on because I know it puts you on the spot, but I love your Emmy for you and for all of us.
Yeah.
Because it's a voiceover person, not a famous actor.
They didn't go celeb.
I find this an absolutely impossible question. I always have a lame answer, and I will again. Here I go. I can't pick one. They all have beautiful things. I have to say, Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty, the stuff I do for Disney, to be a part of that is incredible. To be able to bring that to life for little kids and big kids is amazing. And all of the video game stuff is... It's a personal favorite of mine because I've always wanted to play where the boys play. I never, ever liked being stuck in the girls' corner. When I first started out here in LA and I would go out for, say, a commercial voiceover, I would see on the copy, I'm reading for Woman 1, and then there's the announcer. And I would call my agents and I would say, let me read the announcer. And they're like, well, they want a man. I know, let me just read it anyway. Can I just read it anyway? And they're like, fine, go ahead. I don't even know if they sent it in, but I would always push to play where the boys are. And that's one of the things I love about the Commander Shepards and the Bastille-Chans and those characters, because we are powerful too, and don't piss us off. That and I have a special place in my heart too for characters like Princess Morbucks from and Sedusa from Powerpuff Girls, because there's nothing like 2 pages of just screaming your head off. I leave there and I am so well rested the rest of the day. Yeah, and just I'm eternally grateful to my fellow actors. Like I said, when I started this, I had 3 voices I could do, and I learned watching these guys, just like, how do you do that? How do you do that? And just trying to soak up their genius like a sponge so I could maybe play as well as they did one day. And, so that's my... You're hot.
All right. So, again, I have a story. I'm Italian. So I got a story for everything. And if somebody ends up crying, it's usually me. I took over for Chrissy Cavanaugh in the role of Dexter. She retired about a year and a half into it, and I did the last 7 years. Prior to that, I had done Tiny Toons with Rob and Maurice and a bunch of incredible people. And then I was kind of locked out. I was thinking I was doing really funny stuff, but I was doing mostly little tiny characters on small things. I was the mom and the teacher on Cow and Chicken, and I would throw out these odd things. And here's the words that would come back was, "She's too cartoony." Okay, I think the words you're looking for, exactly, I think the words you're looking for is short bus, but we'll go with too cartoony. And then Chrissy quit, and I had an opportunity because I could voice match her. And it was a very heady time in my life. It's not a character, believe it or not, that I like doing, because every time we would start an episode, the voice director, meaning the best that she could, would play me Chrissy's voice before it started. And I had said to her at one time, at some point this has to become my take of it. And, everybody talked about, this, and this. But here's the gift that Dexter did. The gift that Dexter gave to me was suddenly the teacher on Cow and Chicken was hysterical, and they needed that voice for another one. And this thing that I did, and oh, you speak Spanish, and oh, you do this, and oh, you do that. And my career, I was given the opportunity, which was completely lost to me before, because I could step into an iconic character. And so for about 9 or 10 years, I was able to play where the boys play and be as weird and loud, because, I'm not married anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's not like anybody's gonna go, "Don't do that, darling." So it was like I developed this, I'm a Saturday morning cartoon girl. I am big, I'm loud, I'm funny, and I really love it. So I have a soft spot in my heart for Dexter, but it's not my voice. I'm just really good at doing Chrissy. And it was a blessing, and then it was a curse. It was tough, but my favorite character would be Cheese from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Yeah, he's definitely, yeah, I like chocolate milk. And he's just really wrong. And that's my favorite because he's all over the place. We did 7 years of that show, and Cheese was the was the main float for Cartoon Network for 3 years of the Macy's Day Parade, and he was in 3 episodes of Foster's Homes. So I say that if you can bring something to a character, that's my favorite, because he was all mine in so many ways. He's all me, and that was it. But I could not do anything, and that's, I think, the only limitation that there is in this business is if you are a woman, you just have to work just a little bit harder to have a shot at the same thing boys do. But this is truly an industry where they don't care what you look like, they don't care what color you are, they don't care what your disability is. When you get behind the mic, you just have to bring it. So I love Dexter, and I think it's incredibly great that I was given the opportunity, but The Flea and Cheese and everything that came after that, those are my favorite. Yay.
You got a question?
What was your most requested voice? If you ever like to meet people, what was your most requested voice, and why do you think it was the most requested? This is for all of you.
Most requested.
Most impressive?
Most requested.
Oh, requested.
Yeah. Do this. Oh, do this. Come on.
Again, I think it's Porky Pig for you.
For me, I'd say it's spread across the chart. And if you come down to our tables and really take a look, there's kind of a representative sampling of some of what we all do, not all of what we all do. But, as I've had people at the table, they say, "Oh, you did that? Oh, you did." Most of the people who come to hear Grimlock or to meet Grimlock. I have done conventions across oceans now and had people lined up for as long as the line was allowed to go to have things signed. That's so incredibly humbling and jaw-dropping, because I don't think any of us think about the global possibilities of all of this. And on what Candi said, of course, the only limitations that exist are those that are self-imposed. Unlike on-camera acting, where they'll know it when they see it, they'll know it when they hear it. It's you and the mic, and the rest of the universe is up to whatever you put on as your submission. So here and many places, and Transformer-specific conventions, which I'm thrilled to be invited as a guest of honor to, Grimlock, but also Long Haul Skyfire and Outback from Transformers, also Spirit from G.I. Joe, also Odie and Orson from Garfield, also I'm one of 2 ears at Disney, so I get to step into those hallowed shoes. Also, I mean, all of it, Agent K, what happens at the tables when there really is this representative sampling is people will come for one thing, but then they'll say, oh my God, were you, and you did, and yes, that's what we do. I mean, well, no, when I teach, I say, you know, a football player has that one position, but if you can't go left, go right, go back, go forward, go up, go down, you're going to get run over. So versatility is what has allowed us to have the longevity that we've had. Long answer to a short question. So as people discover things, there's somebody who remembers and loves and is loyal, and for that, we're all like, not worthy of you, everything we've done as they stumble onto it.
Oh, your question?
No,
Just kidding. Just kidding.
What? No,
William Shatner.
please,
William Shatner.
don't tell me how to do it, sick and spit. Chekhov. He was here yesterday. What did I do my invitation of him?
By the way, I've sent weight factor 5, sir.
Don't you need to go get something bleached? Spark. Anyway, how many people here have heard of International Talk like William Shatner Day? Cool. Excellent. Excellent. I created a holiday, and I want you all. I want you all to, when you go home, Google Talk Like Shatner and watch my instructional How to Talk Like Shatner video, which I do from behind the wheel of a car while I'm driving. Every March 22nd, William Shatner's birthday, I want the entire country talking like William Shatner as a tribute to this man. But I guess for me, but strange enough, the thing I get, I mean, if it's just boiled down to requested voice, it's a voice I do in a commercial. I have more kids that know that somehow that I'm the voice of Toucan Sam. Follow your nose, it always knows. Kellogg's Fruit Loop cereal with natural orange, lemon, and cherry flavors. So that's my most requested voice. Yeah, right there. And then the other request is stop doing that voice. That's it. Stop doing all those voices. Talk in your own voice. That's my biggest request.
I probably Pinky, and it's kind of a tie between Pinky and Yakko, and sometimes folks find out.
Do you find people request that you sing as Yakko more than talk like Yakko?
Sing! Actually, I was going to sing Ave Maria. Because, you know, Candy's a Catholic.
All right, you know, the truth is, I'll tell you the truth. We got a few more minutes before we're done?
I'm not sure, so.
I mean, the truth is, I'll sing this song, and then I have to go to the bathroom. I got this, yeah, really, I mean, I gotta make my bladder glider, baby, that's the damn truth. All right, okay, here we go. This is a little song.
This is a little song I do, which I did not write. My friend and our friend Randy Rogel wrote this. A little something I like to call Yakko's World. And it goes something like this. United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, Republic, Dominican, Cuba, Caribbean, Greenland, El Salvador, too, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela, Honduras, Guyana, and still Guatemala, Bolivia, then Argentina, and Ecuador, Chile, Brazil, Costa Rica, Belize, Nicaragua, Bermuda, Bahamas, Tobago, San Juan, Paraguay, Uruguay, Suriname, Anchorage, Guyana, Barbados, and Guam, Norway, and Sweden, and Iceland, and Finland, and Germany now in peace, Switzerland, Austria, Czechoslovakia, Italy, Turkey, and Greece, Poland, Romania, Scotland, Albania, Ireland, Russia, Oman, Bulgaria, Saudi Arabia, Hungary, Cyprus, Iraq, and Iran. There's Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Jordan, both Yemen, Kuwait, and Bahrain. The Netherlands, Luxembourg, Belgium, and Portugal, France, and then Denmark and Spain. India, Pakistan, Burma, Afghanistan, Thailand, Nepal, and Bhutan. Cambodia, Malaysia, then Bangladesh, Asia, and China, Korea, Japan. Mongolia, Laos, and Tibet, Indonesia, the Philippine Islands, Taiwan. Sri Lanka, New Guinea, Sumatra, New Zealand, then Borneo, and Vietnam. Tunisia, Morocco, Uganda, Angola, Zimbabwe, Djibouti, Botswana, Mozambique, Zambia, Swaziland, Gambia, Guinea, Algeria, Ghana. But wait, there's more. Burundi, Lesotho, and Malawi, Togo, the Spanish Sahara is gone. Nigeria, Chad, and Liberia, Egypt, Benin, Gabon, Tanzania, Somalia, Kenya, and Mali, Sierra Leone, and Algeria. Dahomey, Namibia, Senegal, Libya, Cameroon, Congo, Zaire, Ethiopia, Guinea-Bissau, Madagascar, Rwanda, Malawi, and Cayman, Hong Kong, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Yugoslavia, Kuwait, Mauritania, then Transylvania, Monaco, Liechtenstein, Malta, and Palestine, Fiji, Australia, Jordan!
Rob Paulsen! Thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you. And I and my relieved bladder will be back in about a minute and a half.
Turn the mic off.